Why do we call letters and numbers characters? Because they never change. A is always A. B is B at 2 a.m. One is one in Africa, Asia, or the Bronx. Statues don't move when the weather shifts. Write it down. We call them characters because they are consistent. You can set your watch by them. Consistency is credibility. So what is character? Character is integrity, oneness, what stays the same at 2 a.m. in public or in private. Say it with me. Be one. The Lord our God is one. Deuteronomy 6:4. Holiness is oneness, and integrity is oneness. Character is self-imposed discipline. Lead with your life. Honesty is my only policy. There is no such thing as a private life. Who you are when no one is watching is who you are. Tweet that. Principles are laws. They never change. You can ignore a principle, but you can never disagree with it without paying the price. Ask gravity. Jump off a 10-story building in London or Lagos. You won't break the law will break you. You can never disagree with the principle. Laws are mercilessly faithful. That's why they can be trusted. Write it down. Now hear me. Pain is not the maker of character. Pain is the revealer and refiner of character. Pain is the fire that shows whether you are gold or plastic. The trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tried with fire. 1 Peter 1-7. Paul says, we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:3-4. Pain exposes what is already in you. It cannot forge steel from straw, but it can temper steel into a sword. So set the frame. This season is an exam room, not an execution chamber. The teacher is often silent during the test, but he has not left the room. Enter it with understanding. Don't curse the fire. Calibrate your interior. When pressure rises, character remains. If you change, you were never integrated. If you endure, you are being clarified. Write it down. If it didn't kill you, it came to qualify you. Write that down. Tweet that to somebody right now. I call this the law of qualification. No legitimate promotion without testing. You can never disagree with this law. Schools know it. Airlines know it. Heaven knows it. You don't get a license because you survived the road. You get it because you proved competence under pressure. And you shall remember that the Lord your God led you these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and test you, to know what was in your heart. Deuteronomy 8:2. God does not test to learn. He tests to reveal and to qualify. Purpose precedes provision. God never funds what he didn't author. Destiny requires durability. Pain measures if your life can carry your future's weight. Write it down. Before God increases your visibility, he increases your viability. The gym doesn't hate you. The weights are your friends. Resistance builds capacity. James says, count it all joy, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. James 1-2. For survival is not the certificate. Maturity is. Qualification is. That's why some of you are still in class, because love refused to graduate you unready. So stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this qualifying me for? Which door requires the key I am forging right now? Which people will need the tenderness this pain is teaching me? Which platform will collapse if I am promoted without patience? Don't waste this season. Treat every pressure as training, not punishment. Take notes. Extract principles, not just memories. Israel's wilderness was a classroom. Jesus' 40 days were a proving ground. Joseph's prison was a gate. David's lion and bear were credentials for Goliath. Image before dominion. Pray like this. Lord, show me the lesson, not merely the exit. Guard your interior. Endure clean. After you have suffered a while, he will perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you. 1 Peter 5:10. Survival wasn't the goal. Qualification was. Pain is the gatekeeper. Answer correctly and the door opens. Write it down. In the beginning, God said, let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Order is everything. Image before dominion. Character before power. Write it down. God never gives authority to what does not look like him. You can never disagree with this principle. Power will not change you, it will expose you. Power without character will kill you. So what does a wise father do? He hides you in hard places until his image is welded into your soul. Hard places are protective places. Pressure purifies. Delays develop. Hiddenness heals. He made me a polished arrow and hid me in his quiver. Isaiah 49:2. Why hide an arrow? To straighten it before it flies. To keep it from warping in the weather. Some of you are not being ignored. You are being stored. A closed door may be a divine lock keeping you out of a room your current character cannot yet hold. Tweet that to somebody right now. Joseph's dream was accurate. But until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him, Psalm 105:19. David was anointed king in a back room, but sent back to sheep so lions and bears could tutor his courage in private before Goliath televised it. Jesus himself increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men, Luke 2:52. Hiding is holy. This is the integration mandate. There is no such thing as a private life. Be one. Live loudly. Who you are in the cave must match who you are on the platform. The waiting room is God's workshop where he brands convictions onto your heart. Jeremiah says he writes his law within you, Jeremiah 31:33. Let him write. Let him cauterize lies, cauterize lust, cauterize laziness. Lock yourself in the prison of your principles now so fame cannot parole you later. So stop calling it delay. Call it design. Ask, Father, what part of your image are you perfecting in me in this hallway? Guard your interior. Refuse shortcuts. If the door stays shut, sharpen in the quiver. When the image is set, dominion is safe to give. And when he opens a door, you won't just enter, you will endure. While you are hidden in the quiver, 3 examiners stand at the door of your destiny with clipboards in their hands. Write it down. 3 things always test character, power, money, and access to sex. You can never disagree with this principle. Every public fall, every private collapse that eventually becomes public traces back to one or a combination of these 3. And hear me, pain makes the exam harder because pain whispers, take a shortcut. Bribes look like blessings. Exploitation dresses like opportunity. Secret compromises promise relief while mortgaging your future. Tweet that to somebody right now. Power in a painful season says, control it your way, force the outcome. Money in a painful season says, just one invoice altered, just one envelope taken, and the pressure is gone. Access to sex in a painful season says, numb the ache. You deserve comfort. But these are painkillers that poison. The integrity of the upright shall guide them. Proverbs 11:3. Joseph felt loneliness, rejection, and delay. But when Potiphar's wife offered a shortcut, he said, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Genesis 39:9. He chose prison over a private betrayal. And God trusted him with Pharaoh's ring, a nation's economy, and covenant preservation. Samson felt frustration and entitlement. He embraced indulgence, and a lap became a trap. Judges 16. Power did not corrupt him. Power revealed his corruption. Same pain, different character, opposite outcomes. So let me ask you diagnostic questions. Are you for sale? Who are you at 2 a.m.? What would you do if you knew you wouldn't get caught? There is no such thing as a private life. The only difference between secret and spotlight is time. Establish your non-negotiables before the test, not during it. Honesty is my only policy. Say it now. I do not lie. I do not steal. I do not sleep with who I'm not married to. I do not touch what is not mine. I lock myself in the prison of my principles and throw away the key. When pain offers shortcuts, answer with standards. Refuse the bribe. Delete the message. Return the envelope. Walk away. Your destiny is safe only when power, money, and sex cannot buy you. Let's build the interior. Philosophy produces values. Values produce morals. Morals inform ethics. Ethics produce character. Character becomes lifestyle. That's the pipeline of integrity. Write it down. What is philosophy? Your belief system, what you think is true about God, about man, about life. What are values? Things you value. What are morals? Your internal judgments of right and wrong. What are ethics? The standards you practice consistently in public and in private. Character is the integration of all of that into one you. Lifestyle is the evidence. You can never disagree with this principle. It's a law. Whatever rules you within will rule you without. Vision without values is destiny without discipline. Write that down. Tweet that to somebody right now. Write the vision. Make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2. But vision without a value system is a kite in a hurricane. Gravity analogy again. Principles don't care about your feelings. If you jump from the building of integrity, destiny dies on the sidewalk. He who walks uprightly, speaks the truth in his heart, swears to his own hurt, and changes not. Psalm 15:2-4. That is ethical steel. Pain clarifies what you value. Discomfort exposes counterfeit priorities. Fire reveals your alloy. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, our God is able, but if not, we will not bow. Daniel 3:17. 18. Values became ethics. Ethics became character. Character became a lifestyle that fire could not bend. Stable values become ethical steel. When the fire comes, you bend, never you become. Practical now. Draft your 10 non-negotiables. Lock yourself in the prison of your convictions and throw away the key. Examples. I tell the truth, no exceptions. Ephesians 4:25. I keep my word even when it hurts. Psalm 15. I flee sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6:18. I do not take or give bribes. Exodus 23:8. I do not lie on reports or invoices. I return what is not mine. I pay what I owe. Romans 13:7-8. I refuse secret relationships and secret money. I live loudly. There is no such thing as a private life. I lead with my life. Write them, sign them, read them daily. Teach them to your children. Audit every decision with 2 questions. Which value is driving this? Which principle am I honoring? If it cannot survive the headline test front page tomorrow morning, don't do it. Build the interior now, so when pain flames tomorrow, you don't negotiate, you demonstrate. Interpreting setbacks requires humility and vision. Write it down. Not every no is against you, many are for you. Protection often arrives disguised as pain. He opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. Revelation 3:7. You can never disagree with this principle. If the king shuts a door, it is not punishment, it is preservation. All things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. The same wind that sank a fool's boat can speed a wise sailor's voyage direction is everything. Consider the case studies. The job you lost, perhaps it demanded ethical bending. You vowed never to perform. The deal that died, maybe it was inked with invisible bribes that would have stained your name. The relationship that ended, sometimes Delilah looks like destiny until you wake up bald. Some exits are escorts to purpose. Tweet that to somebody right now. When God says no to your timetable, he is saying yes to your character. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. A closed door can keep you from an open grave. Now let's think in consequences. 5 seconds of compromise can destroy 20 years of trust. Ask fallen leaders. Public confidence is fragile. Destiny is carried on the thin glass of credibility. There is no such thing as a private life. One text, one night, one envelope. Everything you built, bleeding in the headlines by morning. God's no today may be protecting tomorrow's yes to influence, image before dominion. So here's your redirection matrix. When a door shuts, do not sulk, study. Ask, which value did this no preserve? Which of the 3 examiners, power, money, access to sex, did this closed door keep from ambushing me unprepared? Which test did God just prevent so my integrity could mature another day? Write it down. If the no protected your honesty, your purity, your stewardship, then celebrate the no. Practice gratitude for the doors that didn't open. Thank him for the call you missed, the meeting rescheduled, the platform postponed. David could have taken Saul's life, but he said, I will not stretch out my hand. 1 Samuel 24:6. That restraint kept his image intact for future dominion. Rejection can be God's redirection, preserving the trust your destiny will require. Lead with your life. Now that you see the no as protection, let's deal with the poison that sneaks in after the door shuts bitterness. Write it down. Holiness is oneness. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Deuteronomy 6:4. Integrity is being one. Bitterness fragments you. A splintered soul leaks wisdom. You cannot lead with your life when your heart is divided by offense. Let all bitterness be put away from you, and be kind, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:31-32. Forgiveness is not a feeling. Forgiveness is a strategy to keep you integrated so wisdom can flow clean. You can never disagree with this principle. Offense is a detour. Purpose is a destination. Choose the destination. Tweet that to somebody right now. Joseph chose it. He said to his brothers, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Genesis 50-20. That is meaning making, not denial. He harvested principle without swallowing poison. Write it down. Forgiveness is how you move information forward without moving infection forward. Here is your pain to principle mapping tool. 3 columns. Column 1, list the trial, betrayal, delay, layoff, slander. Column 2, extract the law. What principle does this expose? Examples. The law of stewardship. Don't build trust on charisma. The law of timing, patience, preserves promotion. The law of boundaries. Access is earned, not assumed. The law of sowing and reaping. You harvest what you permit. Column 3. Define the habit. What daily discipline embalms this principle into your lifestyle? Examples. A 24-hour rule before responding to offense. Weekly reconciliation audits. Budget honesty checks. Accountability for screens and schedules. Morning watch. In the Word. Lead with your life. Ask yourself these audit questions. What is this season exposing? Which value needs reinforcement? What shortcut must I renounce? Who must I forgive before sunset today? What gratitude will I practice to keep my spirit sweet? See to it that no root of bitterness springing up causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. Hebrews 12:15. Bitterness is contagious. Integrity is clarifying. There is no such thing as a private life. Secret grudges become public sabotage. Lock yourself in the prison of your principles. I forgive quickly. I bless my enemies. I do not rehearse wrongs. I rehearse lessons. I harvest the principle and remain one, integrated, not splintered. Image before dominion. Training converts revelation into routine. Discipline embalms today's lessons into tomorrow's lifestyle. Write it down. You can never disagree with this principle. Paul said, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:27. Why? Because charisma cannot carry what character won't contain. So here is your regimen. Begin with vows daily, out loud, morning and evening. Lock yourself in the prison of your principles. Say it slowly. I do not lie. I do not steal. I do not cheat ever. I keep my word, even when it hurts. Psalm 15:4. I do not touch what is not mine. I do not entertain secret money or secret relationships. I flee sexual immorality. 1 Corinthians 6:18. I return what does not belong to me. I do not cook numbers. I do not shade truth. Character is self-imposed discipline. Lead with your life. Now the transparency rule. Never do anything you don't want anyone to find out about. There is no such thing as a private life. For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known. Luke 12:2. Tweet that to somebody right now. So live audit ready. If your browser, bank statement, and text threads went on a screen tonight, would you be proud or petrified? Preach to yourself. I live loudly. I act as if the camera is already on. Guard the triad preemptively. Money. Build a zero-lie budget and keep it. Tithe and save. Honor God. Pay yourself. Then live on the rest. Proverbs 3-9, 27-23. Track spending weekly. Reconcile monthly. Pain will not bribe me with envelopes. Body, steward your temple. Sleep, water, movement. Fatigue is a liar. Rest starves temptation. Sex, predecide your no. Daniel purposed in his heart before the pressure. Daniel 1-8. Boundaries on screens. Boundaries on hours. Boundaries on company. Don't trust moods. Trust methods. Construct accountability, architecture, wise mentors for counsel, financial and digital audits for honesty, calendar integrity for priorities. If it isn't scheduled, it isn't of value. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Appoint a truth teller who can ask you anything, anytime, and you will answer. Give them passwords. Give them permission. Finally, Sabbath and study. Rest refuels conviction. Study resets your compass. Remember the Sabbath day, Exodus 20:8. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Meditate day and night, Joshua 1-8. Weekly rest for recalibration. Daily scripture and principle review for orientation. Write it down. Discipline embalms today's lessons into tomorrow's lifestyle. Image before dominion. Formation without deployment becomes spiritual vanity. Training must turn into service. Write it down. Your gift is your leadership fruit. Trees don't bring fruit to you, you go to the tree. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Proverbs 18:16. The room is not for ego, it is for service. Fruit is for the eater, not the tree. Tweet that to somebody right now. Plant yourself where need is gnawing and let your gift feed it. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in its season. Psalm 1-3. Season has come. Pain was your sharpener. It purified motive, deepened compassion, and gave your words weight. You can heal what you have survived without compromise. He comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves are comforted by God. 2 Corinthians 1-4. That's authority. Write it down. Empathy plus integrity equals influence that lasts. Trust is the currency of leadership. Integrity in the dark funds. Influence in the daylight. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Proverbs 22-1. You can never disagree with this principle. Shift now from employment to deployment. Don't just get a job, release your gift to solve problems. Jobs pay bills, deployment fulfills assignment. Jesus said, whoever desires to become great among you, let him be your servant. Matthew 20:26. Greatness is measured in towels, not titles. The talents were given to be traded, not buried. Matthew 25. Trade what you learned in the fire. Offer systems, not slogans. Bring solutions, not speeches. Lead with your life. Set a service target. Where will you take your fruit this week? Name the place. Name the person. Name the problem. Schedule the hour. Deliver value without invoice. First seed before harvest. Mentor the struggler you used to be. Design the workshop you needed 5 years ago. Volunteer your competence where compromise once tempted you. As each one has received a gift, minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. 1 Peter 4:10. You're qualified to lead where you're committed to serve with your gift and integrity. Image before dominion now. Deploy. This is covenant time. Seal it. Write it down. Image before dominion. Always. Principles are laws. They never change. If it didn't kill you, it came to qualify you. You can never disagree with this principle. Let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Order protects destiny. Stewardship precedes status. It is required in stewards that one be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Faithful to what? To the principles you profess, especially when pain presses. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. Destiny rides on integrity. Now covenant with me. Say it aloud. I am not for sale. My values govern my opportunities. Opportunities do not govern my values. My future depends on my character, not my charisma. I tell the truth. I keep my word even when it hurts. I flee sexual immorality. I do not touch what is not mine. I return what I owe. I refuse secret money and secret relationships. Honesty is my only policy. I lock myself in the prison of my principles and throw away the key. Lead with your life. There is no such thing as a private life. Here is your 30-day charge. Daily, recite your vows morning and night. Open the scriptures. And one principle you will practice before noon. Write it on paper, not just in your head. Joshua 1-8. Weekly, conduct an audit of your money, your media, and your motives. Reconcile the numbers. Review the screens. Repent where needed. Every week, perform one targeted act of service with your gift. No invoice, just fruit. Matthew 25-21. Every week, one accountability meeting. Give permission. Answer every question. Bring your statements and your schedule. Post your non-negotiables on your wall and online. Tweet the maxim. Live loudly so your life can lead. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. Joshua 24-15. I have set before you life and death. Therefore choose life. Deuteronomy 30-19. Don't waste this season. Turn every pain into principle. And every principle into practice until practice becomes lifestyle. When your image is set, dominion is safe. Steward this season with uncompromised integrity so destiny can trust you with dominion. Well done is waiting. Now, go live it.